record. Hey guys, so I'm really excited to bring some information to you tonight. It's gonna be a little bit more informal than what I would normally do. As most of you know, I just got back from the Diamond Retreat in Southwest Ranches, which is like a suburb of Miami. And there was 9 of us there. We had an amazing time. Kelly had this huge 3,300 square foot house that she rented for all of us, that had, several bedrooms and bathrooms and a gorgeous patio with a built-in pool and all that. So it was really, really exciting, and it was really awesome to be surrounded by so many people that are on a similar path, that have like-minded goals, want to do bigger and better things, and want to help people, and truly are just super down-to-earth people, that we're all like best friends. We all got along really, really well. So it was just an amazing time. We didn't do any formal training that was originally on the schedule. Unfortunately, Tommy Migrant's wife, fortunately she's pregnant, but she's pregnant with twins, and she's been having some complications, and has been in the hospital with dehydration because she's been so sick. So unfortunately he was not able to make the weekend for our training that we were supposed to do. However, it was really cool to just sit back and have one-on-one conversations with some of the other diamonds on our team, with Kelly. Meg Wazinski was there, and I have quite a bit of information from Meg that I would like to share with all of you guys, because honestly, that's the first time I'd ever met Meg. I've seen her several times, and I've even said hi to her when she was talking with Kelly at several different events, but I had never personally met her one-on-one or had a conversation with her. And you guys, she is one of the sweetest people I've ever met. This girl makes buku bucks and is more than successful in the Beachbody business, and is on the leading coach of the industry's team. So she's pretty amazing. Can you guys hear me okay? Because I feel like some of you, okay. I feel like some of you froze there for a second. But just to get to have one-on-one time with her was really amazing, and I got to learn a lot. So that brings me to the first thing that I wanted to address with you guys, and it's the value of going to events. When I first started as a coach, we'll kind of backtrack a little bit. When I first started as a coach, it started off as kind of a hobby for me, and then I slowly started realizing the value and the potential that the business had. And as much as I really wanted to go to events, I always kind of found an excuse not to go, whether it was money. Summit, we would always say, well, we don't want to leave the boys, we don't want to get on a flight, and what if something happens, and to be that far away from home, and whatever it was. I'm not sure why I was so scared to do it, and why I was allowing myself to be held back. But I have changed my perspective on that since going to a couple of the events, and I can 100% without a doubt tell you that when the top coaches in our industry tell you the reason that they are successful is because they've done the 3 vital behaviors and they're consistent, which we already know. We know that that's proven, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But the key component to them being successful is getting themselves to events and getting themselves surrounded by other successful people, and being able to have that one-on-one time and pick those people's brains. And I can, without a shadow of a doubt, tell you that my business has exploded since I started going to events too. I always went to Super Saturday events. That's always been something that's on my radar, and Super Saturdays are great. But beyond that, getting to the larger events like Summit, Coachtoberfest, which is in October, making the rank advancement so that you can go to events like this. Kelly paid for that house. Kelly paid for all of our food. We just had to get there. And it was an amazing weekend, to have all that wealth of knowledge around us. So definitely getting yourself to the events and getting yourself around the key players in the business that are willing to just talk one-on-one with you and be a friend and share a helpful hint and tip is really priceless, and it's going to make your business explode. You're getting around the culture and getting in that inspiring environment. Like, I'm totally going to revamp my goals this week once I get myself back in order from getting home. But I'm already thinking in 3 to 5 years from now after this weekend. It's pretty crazy. So definitely making that a priority is really going to help you. If you want this to just be a hobby, then do the Super Saturday events. Keep yourself plugged into the community and the inspiration and the motivation that's in our industry. But if you're that person like me who wants to build financial stability for your family, or so that you can retire early, or so that you can pay off your debt and live debt free and live by your own means, it's totally doable. But you have to take the measures to get there. It's not going to happen on its own. We have to grow, just like we have to grow in our nutrition and our fitness. We have to grow our minds, and we have to surround ourselves with those people that are going to help take us there. Unfortunately, sometimes that means leaving a few people in our lives behind. It's kind of the reality, and it's, we all grow. And think about the people you hung out with in high school. You probably don't hang out with many of those people now because you've grown. It's just the circle of life. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just if you want to go to bigger, better things, you're going to have to surround yourself with bigger people who want better things. It's not that they're better than those people. It's just that they're more driven. They have more goals. They have more aspirations. They're going to push themselves to get there. So just all things to think about, that we are who we surround ourselves with. So I guess that kind of wraps that up. Let me check my notes as far as that's concerned. I mean, the other thing that really just stood out to me as far as the value of that is the friendships. I've known Brooke Sperling, who is a diamond on Team Tubby Detoned, since she became a coach a little over 2 years ago. And she actually reached out to me one-on-one about nursing when I had Beckett, because she's had 4 babies and she's nursed all of her kids and was really sweet. She's totally different in person. Like, she's still very sweet, but like, I just really felt a connection to her and where she wants to go in life. And we have a lot of similar goals. So just really getting to be around those people. I know a lot of us here, except for Becky, you're the only one I can see that's not around us here. We can all pretty much get together because we live in the same area. But getting together with some of the other coaches like Becky or Brooke or April or those other girls who are striving for big things and who are friends of ours on Facebook, that we can actually get that, that camaraderie in person and make a connection with those people. So that was definitely really cool for me too. Okay, so the second thing I wanted to talk about lead into is Meg Wazinski. I don't know how many of you know who she is. She's a local girl here to us. She's from Sylvania, Ohio. She has a nutrition degree. I believe she may even have her master's in nutrition. But she is a coach underneath Janelle Summers. Janelle Summers is Shalene Johnson's sister, who is also here in the Sylvania area. And Janelle is the top coach in the industry. Maybe not necessarily in ranking, but she is the biggest earner in Beachbody by far, actually. And Meg was her assistant for a couple years. And Meg actually signed up to be a coach 5 years ago. And her first 2 years, she was just pretty much a discount coach. Even though she was Janelle's assistant, she still was just kind of very inconsistent, not making things happen, thought that she could kind of reinvent the wheel, if you will, and do things her way. And she wasn't getting anywhere, and she was getting really frustrated. She was frustrated by the no's. She was frustrated by people on her team not working. And she just really was going nowhere. So she finally said to Janelle, I'm going to do this. So she did. She started getting herself to events. She really started plugging into her personal development. That's something that she shared with me that she really was lacking. And in the last 3 years, she's really built a very successful team and been very consistent. This girl is 28 years old, and she is an 11-star in her first business center, a 6 or 7-star in her second business center, and a 3-star in her third business center. So that basically means the business centers means that she has signed herself up 2 different times underneath her initial business center. So she has 3 business centers, crazy successful. And last week, she became a $1 million earner. That means she has sold over $1 million worth of Beachbody product. And she shared, like, her first year, her check was like $70. It was nothing. Most of you guys on this call have far surpassed $70 in the first year. So in 2011, let's see, so that was her first year. 2011, she earned just over $4,000 for the year. In 2012, she earned just over $17,000. In 2013, she earned over $73,000. She went from a $17,000 income to a $73,000 income. Then last year, she went from $73,000 to $230,000. That's bananas. She said when we were talking to her that if her bank account's under 100 grand, she gets nervous. What a problem to have, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have 100 grand sitting in the bank. I would love to have 100 grand sitting in the bank. That would be amazing, right? So then she shared with us from January 1st until March 1st. So far, her income is $117,000. That's crazy, you guys. She's only been in the business for 5 years, and let's say really working the business for 3. Can you imagine working anything for 3 years and getting that kind of income? That's crazy. And then meanwhile, she actually shared, she does have an assistant that does help her with some stuff. She works 4 hours a day. And if she gets done with her work early, she walks away. She's done for the day. She doesn't, some coaches will like make a to-do list and they'll work the full 4 hours. She doesn't. She has a schedule. If she gets her 4 hours of work done in 2, she's done for the day. How amazing would that be to be able to make that kind of money, help that many people? She's helping tons of people with that kind of income. And, you know, and have the freedom of your time. Be able to travel. You know, she was in Miami with us. She's home for a couple days. Now she's going to Utah for the leadership event, and then Summit. Like there's all these different things that you get to do. I mean, you don't have to, but how cool is that? You know, that you can travel and see the world and do things with your family. And that's the other thing. Beachbody is very accommodating to families. So, you know, if you do have children, you can take them along with you if you have young children. You know, you probably need to take like a grandma or something along so that when you are out at events, you know, you have somebody to help with the kids, but they're very accommodating to that. So it's not something that, like, I used to let that prevent me from going to events because the boys are at home or it's too far or whatever the excuse was. But I just really wanted to share that with you because she's very real. You know, like we always say, Kelly doesn't do anything special. You know, Meg Wazinski doesn't do anything special. Tommy Migrant doesn't do anything special. They do the 3 vital behaviors and they plug themselves into events. That's what they do. And it's the God honest truth. That is what they do. They just have gone through way more no's than any of us probably put together. And that's why they are where they are. They didn't let the no stop them. They let that fuel their fire and made them keep going. And that's why she's a 6-figure earner. And she's now a $1 million earner. I mean, that's I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely motivation for me. That's definitely motivation to push forward. And when I get that no or that rejection for the 5th time from the same person, it's like, okay, I'll get you next month. I'll get to hear no from you next month, and then the next month, and then maybe you'll finally say, hey, I'm ready, which is cool. You know, it's got to be on their terms. Don't just remember that it's not us. It's not us. It's not you. It's never you. It's not your approach. It's not that you're being salesy. It's not that you're not being you. It's they're not ready, and that's okay. You know, I'm pretty sure that 95% of us sitting on this call right now weren't ready the first time we were approached with it. So just remember that. Okay, so after talking with Meg and getting to know her story a little bit, we actually all sat around and shared our own stories. And I, in sharing my story, learned a little bit. I tend to be a little bit of a control freak. I like to do everything myself. I have a very hard time delegating and giving things up. And I felt that when we were signing on new coaches, and some of you guys were new and you were bringing new coaches on, that I was doing you a favor by doing your getting started right calls with your coaches and helping move that process along, and you know, make sure that they were getting started right so that you weren't feeling overwhelmed and that sort of thing. But I've learned that I'm not doing you guys any favors. I'm actually doing a disservice. I'm not letting you go through the motions and learn to be leaders on your own. And, you know, it's probably not going to be perfect the first time that you do it. But honestly, I just follow the script that's on our team page. I don't really do anything, you know, far off of what that checklist and that getting started right call guideline is. So I kind of learned from Meg that you know, Kelly never did my getting started right calls. She might reach out to my coaches now once in a while, or get them in a group, but she never did the getting started right calls because she wanted me to find my way through. If I do it for you guys all the time, then you're not going to learn either. You know, you're not going to find your voice and to find the rhythm that works for you and your team, because what you want your team to ultimately be may be different than what I am creating or my vision. We're all going in the same direction, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be a cookie cutter. You know, you can put your own spin on things and have your own direction. So I am absolutely here to help. If your first couple of getting started race, you want to do 3-way call, totally here, because I want you guys to succeed and I want you to do well. But I also want you to become leaders on your own. I want you to find your voice. I want you to be the person that your coaches come to. You are their upline. I mean, ultimately I'm their upline, but you are. They picked you. They picked you to be on your team for a reason. So, like I said, I will be here to help, but I think that I'm inhibiting growth by keeping control of too much of the reins at times. So I apologize for that. That was by no means my intentions. I thought I was helping by, taking the load off a little bit and, helping to get those coaches on board right. But I can see, that it's maybe where it can be beneficial, it can also be a little bit of a inhibit of your growth. So I apologize if that was not my intentions. So we'll start working on that a little bit more so that you guys can all find your voice and be leaders of your own team as well. I'm really excited for that. And last, I just want to tell you that, kind of like I was saying with Meg, how she started off her first 2 years and, really didn't go anywhere. And then each year she grew and grew. And then, it just exploded. After it all compounds. For me, I will, thank you. Mama Karina's giving me some words of encouragement. So for me, I will have been a coach. It'll be 3 years on May 15th. So what is that, Friday? will be my 3-year anniversary, and I'm very excited for that. I've actively been working the business, I would say, 1.5 years. So for you newbies, or even some of our veterans that are not growing maybe as fast as you had hoped or you would like to, I would like to remind you that I started after about 2 months of being a coach with Kelly. I saw that there was some value here, so I wanted to pursue it a little bit. I wasn't like, well, this is going to replace my income or anything like that at that time. It was, I want to pay for my own Shakeology, maybe get PJs paid for, and have a little extra cash to do things here and there. So I fumbled my way through. I did not hit Success Club every month. I didn't see the value in that, and I didn't make that happen every single month. And for the first 1.5 years, I struggled. I was trying to find my voice. We didn't have systems in place that we have now, so there wasn't that find your target market, find your voice to talk to the person who you are, because that's who's going to be attracted to you. The 3 vital behaviors, that wasn't even really out, to be honest. The tracking systems and stuff we have now, even through Beachbody, none of that was available yet. So challenge packs were very, very new. I just hadn't found my voice, and I struggled, but I kept going because I knew that if I kept consistent and I kept trying to learn and I kept myself teachable, that I would be successful in this, because I was watching other people do that exact same thing. They weren't getting yeses from everybody. They just kept consistent, and they were willing to learn. And those people are now crazy successful. So what I would like to remind you is keep pushing through. Even on those days that you're like, man, I just can't hear another no. Just do it. Just do it. Because if you want this to work, and if you want to be where Meg is now at 230,000, and you get nervous when there's 100 grand in the bank, or less than 100 grand in the bank, then keep pushing forward. Keep doing it, because I promise you, you will find your groove. You will find your rhythm. That's all it is. It's finding that consistency and what works for you and your family. And once you find it, it starts to compound, and it will start to, you will start to see growth. It takes time. So for me, that's been actively, consistently working the business for about 1.5 years now. Things are going very well. From just a couple $100 a month to now, a pretty substantial amount for my family every month. And it makes a really big difference when you start to see that number increase. Making Success Club non-negotiable, you guys, seriously, if you talk to any of the top coaches, it is non-negotiable, not even close. And it seems like a lot, because you're like, well, I get so many no's. Yeah, but everybody gets no's. And if you're reaching out to 5 to 10 people 5 days a week, guys, I really don't work on Saturdays or Sundays. I might put up a post, but I'm not really talking to people. I'm not messaging people. That's my family time. So if you are making that happen 5 days a week, you make that power hour, and you sit down and you knock it out and make it happen, you are going to get 3 people a month to say yes. I mean, it's just inevitable. You are going to get 3 people to say yes. So making Success Club non-negotiable and pushing for your goals is going to get you there. But just most importantly, keep consistent. If you're feeling really down, if you're plugging into your personal development, whatever it is, some coaches will say, oh, you got to be reading this, or you got to be reading that. After talking to Meg and listening to one of her team calls, her whole team the philosophy is, they don't care what personal development you're doing. It can be spiritual, it can be leadership, it can be scripts, whatever. Just something to grow your mind and to keep your outlook positive so that you're pushing forward to your goals. And that's what's going to get you there. So I'm going to step off my soapbox and open up the call. If you girls have any questions, it doesn't have to be on what we talked about. If there was anything that you struggled with while I was gone, anything at all. No? Yeah.
I've been struggling with, I've contacted pretty much everybody on my Facebook, and I'm struggling with finding a new group outside of my vicinity of not just friendships, but everybody lives around. I pretty much, talk to everybody, and if not, my mom's talking to them. I just recently friended somebody who lives in California that used to live around me, and she said she was going to give me a shout out on her Facebook to see if anybody in her area is interested in, healthy and stuff like that. But I'm struggling trying to make new connections with other people. And I just recently also joined another group in my area. It's called Young Professionals, and it's basically like a networking type of thing. So we'll see how that goes. But I've kind of hit a lull with like starting new combos. Like I'm trying to start new combos with people, but I came out of the gate so, straightforward, and I was like contacting 10 to 15 people a day, and now it's like I've run out of people to contact. So like, what do I do?
Okay, so definitely you can search other groups, like making a list of hobbies that you're interested in, even if it's like yard work, because I know that's something that you've really been on. Just something, or like painting and like decorating your house, like just Google or Facebook search different hobbies. Like I would make a list of 7 to 10 things that you are interested in outside of health and fitness, because I personally, when I've gotten into health and fitness groups, they're pretty saturated with us and people that are doing other MLMs. So you might be kind of beating your head against a wall going that route. But Huskies, finding other groups like, like dog groups or Husky groups, something like that, and getting in the group and starting to make those conversations, and starting to convert those people into friends and building connections that way is a great way to add people. Another thing is doing a freemium or offering something free like on Instagram to have people friend you. So if you want to do like a week water challenge or a week, I personally think 5 to 7 days on a free group. 30-day groups can be a little overwhelming. So doing like 30-day squat groups or burpee groups or whatever, like if you want to, by all means, but I just have found Karina's going, no way. Maybe even a 14-day, you could probably even do 2 weeks, but 30 days just gets to be it's too much effort for you to keep those people engaged when you haven't gotten anything from them yet. So doing like a 5 to 7 or even a 14-day group that you can offer for free and hashtag the crap out of it. And, try and get, befriend me on Facebook at blah, 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 and say I'm interested. And then you can start the conversation there. Another thing that I used to do that was very beneficial for me was I would go to a friend's page. Like, let's say I would go to your page, Becky, and I would click on your friend's contacts. And any friend of yours that I had more than 2 friends in common with, I would shoot them a message and say, hey girl, I saw that Facebook suggested that we be friends, and I was wondering if you minded if I added you. That's all I would say. Usually 8 to 9 out of 10 people would either add me right away, or they'd say, hey, yeah, that's cool, girl. Like, how do you know me? Or, where are you from? And they would just start conversation. And some people would even go, well, I wanted to check out your page because I thought it was kind of weird at first. I see you're into health and fitness, and they'll just start the conversation right off. So, but I always made sure I had at least 2 friends in common when I first started doing that. Don't add them, just send them a message. Because 1, you won't have to pay for sending them a message and it get in their inbox because you have mutual friends. But 2, when the conversation starts, if you're really not sure where to take it, you say, hey, I saw that you know blah, blah, blah. How do you know her? Or whatever. And then you have a conversation starter. So that's a couple things that worked well for me. Now, I've been really utilizing my Facebook like page. And on Mondays and Thursdays, when I do my challenge group posts, and Thursday when I do the business posts, I do a $5 boost. It's $5, and it reaches like 2,000 people. And typically those are going to be new people to me. And I'm saying, say in the caption, I'm saying, comment below if you're interested, or if you're interested, comment below, I'm interested, and I will shoot you a friend request from my personal page so that we can have a conversation, or so that we can talk about the details. Then they already know. You're not going to be put in Facebook jail because they've commented on your post and said, I'm interested. So they already know that you're going to be friend requesting them. And that's been a really good way. It's $5, but I've been getting a couple challenge packs out of my boosts. So I'm spending $10 a week and I'm getting a couple challenge packs out of that. So, and even sometimes potential coaches, maybe not right away, but I'm getting some good conversations out of that. So I think that that's even though you're investing a little bit, I think that you're getting more out of it. And when I do that, if you do a Facebook like page, I'm only boosting it to my friends and their friends. I'm not setting, like you can go in and set Facebook ads or boosts to like just general population. You can narrow it down by women and their age and that sort of thing. But I'm actually, when I do a boost on a post like that, I'm just sending it to my friends and their friends so that it gets into their news feed. Does that make sense? Okay. But I would definitely, if you want to go the free route to start, I'd definitely do a freemium on IG, try and get some of your followers converted. And that'll gain you some followers too when people are searching hashtags and they see that you're offering free stuff. Okay, you got it all down on your Post-it? All right, anybody else? No? You sure? Everybody's good?
Hey, Corey, I have a question.
Yeah.
So do you suggest us starting our like pages yet, or until we're more, I mean, because I know that's been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really hard one to say. Here's the thing. Kelly was using hers for a little while. She was getting close to her max on her friends, and she started using her like page. She actually shut it down because she's not posting on it at all now because she just isn't getting the engagement. Here's the pitfall. Facebook is really weird with their algorithms or whatever that's called. And they change them so often that you really can't, it's almost hard to keep up with what they like and that they're going to put into people's news feeds. I would say if you are not consistent in your personal page yet and getting a couple posts up every day, don't even bother with it because it's just going to be another thing to add to your plate and you're going to just freak yourself out. I have started using it. I'm not getting the engagement either. When I'm making just regular posts, I was trying to post 2 to 3 times a day because they recommend you post every 2 hours to really get good engagement. So I was really working hard at that, but I almost found myself like exhausted. So what I've started doing now is I'll just make like 1 post a day, and then I will on Mondays and Thursdays do my business post that I was putting on my personal page, and then I boost it for $10, $5 on Monday, $5 on Thursday. And that's getting me a lot more feedback than if I just would have posted it on my personal page. It's not costing me that much. And personally, Instagram is wonderful, and I'm still doing that very consistently because I still do get some feedback there. But with Facebook, if you boost your post for $5, which there's not very many features out there that you're going to get for $5, if you get 10 people to say I'm interested, you just added 10 people for $5 to your Facebook. When you do a feature on Instagram, you're paying you can pay up to $65 per feature. You get them on Instagram, but you're not ever guaranteed that they're going to actually see your content or that they're even really paying attention to your content. I don't know about you guys, but when I go on Instagram, I don't ever look unless I'm checking your guys' stuff and I search you, but I don't go through my home feed ever. So if you're doing it on Facebook and you're only spending $5, they're already on Facebook. You don't have to spend the time getting to know them on Instagram to get them to convert over to Facebook and then continue. They're already there. You shoot them a friend request and boom, you're on conversation. So there's definitely some benefits, but I would say get in a good place where you're being consistent with your personal page first, and then you can slowly add a little bit here and there with your like page. That would be my recommendation. And know that Buffer is still working, even on personal page. From my understanding, Hootsuite Buffer were supposed to be completely cut out. And then I got an email from Hootsuite that said that as long as you were admin of the group, they weren't going to allow you to use it for pages or for personal profiles, but you could use it in groups. And as long as you were admin, you'd be able to use it. Well, Hootsuite didn't work the entire time I was gone, and I didn't have Wi-Fi or so I could hook my laptop up. So I was kind of SOL for my one group. And I started using Buffer today for my 7-day free trial to see, and it's working. And it even actually posted on my personal page. So I'm really not sure what's going on in that department. But, you know, as long as it's working, I would schedule some buffers out and let them go and see if that helps you. You know, if you can do it one day a week so that you're getting more consistent with your posts. Okay. Anybody else? Nobody? Yeah, Emily.
I have a question kind of from what Becky was saying. When you go into a group about, like a different group about something totally off of fitness, how would you bring in your fitness stuff without saving salesy, I guess?
I wouldn't. I would just literally go in there and start posting. Like if you found a site like with Frenchies and you're starting to share Bella's picture and stuff like that, and you have a couple people that are going back and forth with you in the group, just say, hey girl, would you know, I've enjoyed talking with you. Would you mind if I sent you a friend request? And just start conversation. And then she'll be your friend on Facebook, and she'll see what you're posting about. And then you can start the conversation just like you would reaching out to somebody. It doesn't necessarily have to, you know, go from 0 to 10 right then.
Okay.
It's just you constantly, to grow in this business, you constantly have to be adding people to your contact list. So I don't have my notebook here, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. I used to be really bad about my contact list. And actually after April's call, and she admitted that she was really bad about her contact list as well, I buckled down and I have been doing it. And I literally, when somebody adds me on Facebook, this is not the notebook, but I will put their name and then how I converted them. So whether they were either I put IG, Instagram, or Facebook ad or Facebook like page, I put it over here so that way I can kind of track where most of my new people are coming from. But just since April's call, I have, I think I have 10 pages front and back. So tracking that, you got to track it, because if you are in that place that, okay, I got, like Becky was feeling, I've reached out to everybody and their sister, I don't know who else to reach out to, then you start putting those people from that list that you've written down on your sheet for the next day, like who you're going to reach out to, who you're going to follow up with, that sort of thing, so that you constantly have people to be reaching out to. Does that help? She ran away. Bella must have had to go potty or something. Any other questions? Anything else you guys have been struggling with, or that you've been strong with that you'd like to share, or something that you have found that works for you?
Well, I started my free group, you know, just like I called it Friends Helping Friends Get Fit. And I've got like 17 members.
Well, that's good.
Like maybe 5 are participating daily, so I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. What's your group? What's the basis of your group, Michelle?
It's just I'm like putting healthy recipes in there. I did a water challenge yesterday, you know, just to try and get, people to see how much water they drink in a day. And my son, who is trying to build body mass, gain weight, he's going to be, he hasn't started yet, but he's going to be, like talking about different things about how to gain weight and stuff like that, because he's been doing a lot of research on it for himself, because he's 5'5" and was 125 pounds. Now he's up to 140 and pretty muscular.
That's awesome.
So, just a group, sort of like what Karina has. Just people who just need some support on trying to get fit and healthy, and not ready to do the plunge into a fitness program.
Okay. Cool.
And,
well, it's definitely a way to open the door and start
I've been
conversations.
Right. So, and I've had a couple of people that, friends of friends that have asked to join groups. So
Good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I would just, with those people, something, and that just brought something to my mind, was something that April had shared. I don't think it was on our call, but something that April had shared is when she has friends that request, they have to, I would have them friend request me, and I would just say, well, I can't add them to the group as admin or whatever. I can't add them to the group unless we're friends. So then
That's
you add
exactly
them.
What I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah. So then you add them to your contact list, and then,
Yep.
and then for people, this is a little off, a little bit different, but for the people that, like, if you're sharing a meal plan or you're giving them a freemium, you're giving them something for free. I now require, after April shared this, I require that they go to teambeachbody.com and sign up for the free membership player under me. So if they ever do get curious, or they ever do have questions, that they would order through me.
Okay, that's cool. I can do that. And
Well, good for you. That's good.
I've been working more on my like page. I'm more comfortable in there right now than I am Instagram. But Shailene's call was pretty cool today too, so I'm gonna jump into that a little bit more.
Cool.
So just trying to just starting somewhere.
Yeah, then that's all you can do, is you got to start somewhere and start creating that consistency for sure.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that group's going well for you. You have to keep us posted on how it's going.
I will.
Cool. All right. Does anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Corey, do you know of any coaches that are more, Shannon and I were talking when we went for our walk the other day, because we feel like, I don't want to say that we're at a disadvantage because of our age, but our group of people, age group, are people that are like us, are a tougher sale because they're sedentary, set in their ways. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I want to lose weight, but yeah, here I am. I know that that's something that I struggled with, and I hemmed and hawed even when you approached me initially. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are other coaches out there that are our age. Mm-hmm. Do you know of any that we could follow to get thoughts or processes together on how they handle that?
Yeah, let me do some checking. I know that Pat Reelman, both of his parents actually are signed up under him. I think one of them is signed up under one of the sisters, which are ultimately underneath him. But I know that they both work the business, and they're in their 60s and they are successful. So I could certainly reach out to Kelly. It might take a couple days because they're all leaving for leadership tomorrow for Utah. But I'll definitely do some research and see if there aren't a couple that I know that are successful that we could maybe even try and get a call with one set up and kind of go from there.
Yeah, because I know that it's possible to be successful, and I know that it can work, but yeah. I just wonder how they broach that group of people.
Yeah,
because I look at my Facebook friends, and the majority of them are like me. They're overweight. they have grandkids coming or grandkids are already here.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about, yeah, well, I'd like to lose weight, but yeah, I don't want to spend the money on something like that.
Yeah.
So how do you break that barrier? You know, how do you get through to that?
Well,
and I know that eventually they might come around when they're ready, but how do you help them see that they're ready?
I mean, I guess for me, I would definitely use the feel, felt, found, because like you said, you felt the same way. You had that barrier too, and you had to come to terms with it and realize that that's what you wanted. So sharing your own personal story and the fact that you understand how they feel because you felt that way, but this is what has changed in your life since you made the decision, to work towards your goals. And before even getting to the asking them or inviting them into the group, really getting to their why they want this, what would it mean to you? What would your life look like if you lost the 30 pounds that you'd like to lose, or the 40 or 50 or 60 or even 100, whatever their goal is? What would life look like for you? What would you be able to do? Those are questions I ask people when I'm trying to figure out their why. If they tell me just a one-word answer, well, I'd like to lose weight. Well, how much weight would you like to lose? What would be your ultimate goal? And if they say, 30 or 40 pounds or whatever it is, then my next question is, well, what would life look like for you? What would that mean to you? Get to that why that makes them cry. Get to that heartfelt. And you're still going to have people that go, oh, okay, I don't know. But when you do invite them and you get to that heartfelt, the one that tugs at their core, that they know is really going to make a difference in their life, and things are really going to change, and they potentially could be able to chase after their grandchildren and have fun and live a better quality of life, they're more likely to say yes. They're more likely to give themselves that chance because you've tapped into that. If you just get the surface, well, I'd like to lose weight and tone up. Oh, okay, great. So can I get you set up with this 21-day fix? When they do have hesitation, you don't have that, that string to pull. But on top of that, if you get to that why initially, they're more likely to be super successful when they get into a group because you tapped into that. You pulled that out, because sometimes people don't even think that. Sometimes people don't ever think that deep. Well, I don't know. I've never thought about what life would look like if I was 50 pounds lighter. If you would ask me 3 years ago what would my life look like if I was almost 70 pounds lighter, I'd been like, yeah, right. I'll never lose 70 pounds. It's just, you can't, especially if you've been a certain way, for the majority of your life. It's really hard to see it any other way. So really tapping into what would change, what would they be happier. So I've had girls tell me that, they would feel confident in front of their husband. I mean, what wife or woman doesn't want that? It's those things that people really don't think about when they say, oh yeah, I'd like to lose weight. They're not really thinking through their head what it really means, So really tapping into that, I think, will make a huge difference. But I'll also reach out to Kelly and see if we can, maybe if she knows of anybody else. I know that Pat Railman, but I know that there's other successful coaches that are older, but I don't know, who they are off the top of my head. So we'll definitely work on that though. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else? No? Oh, one more.
Me and Emily, we were talking about this earlier and we didn't really know the answer. In our challenge groups, is it okay to I know I posted, I just went ahead and did with it. Is it okay to post other programs, results from other programs, basically upselling the customer? I mean, they're already your customers, they're already in the group, they're already doing whatever, upselling them to E&E or, 3-day refresh or, 21-day fix extreme. Is that completely okay, or is that greasy and salesy and,
I think that if you approach it with with the way that we approach things, I think it's fine. I know that Kelly does that excuse me. I know that Kelly does that in a couple of her groups. She'll do like the cross, I don't remember what you call it, cross something. It's not cross sales, but cross something. Basically, you're just exposing them to more things. And I know that a lot of other coaches do that too. Tommy Migrant, I think, does that a lot in his groups. I tend to try and do it like at the end, like what, you know, like, are you going to move up to a new program now? But that doesn't mean that that's right. Like, that's just what's worked for me. So I would say do it, you know. If you're using one of those products yourself, then just, you know, maybe make a post with it and like how you felt while using it, or like if you were struggling with energy and you use E&E, you know, you can share your testimonial with it or something like that, or even like, hey girls, like we're about to wrap up the 21-day fix, or, you know, our 21-day challenge, and I'm getting ready to start the 3-day refresh, or I'm getting ready to start this, or whatever it is, or, you know, this 3-day cleanse after our 21-day group. Is anybody else interested in joining me, or, you know, something like that?
Okay.
Yeah, like we're done. This is our third round of our challenge group. So Becky's she's doing the 21-day fix extreme. So she was gonna do like a sneak peek thing through this round to kind of introduce it to everybody that's ready to move up like to a different level, and then incorporate that into our next group.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought about doing that because we had Emily even had some of her, you know, people in our group asking, well, how hard is the extreme? Or what does that all entail? Like, they don't want to jump into something and be, you know, in trouble, and, you know, they're doing insanity or something, and that's not what they signed up for. So I figured, you know, it's, you know, it's hard to explain, like, they trust us to an extent, like, oh, it's just the same stuff, more intense. It's like, well, what does that mean? So I thought, you know, and, you know, either take video or pictures. So yeah, to try to ease the nervousness about, you know, wanting to upgrade.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think that if you have somebody who's really interested, or, you know, has some reservations, that I would personally message them and just share with them that they can always do the modified, because really, I mean, that program's wicked. I think it's wicked, but I love it. But I personally like to torture myself a little bit in my workout. So we did, totally a side note here, we did max 30 at, we did size, which was okay. When I work out, I want to torture myself and work out. I don't want to dance. So it wasn't really my thing. But we did max 30, and holy moly, I had my butt handed to me for sure. That was the day that we all ran out and jumped in the pool. Hi, Carter. Somebody else is gonna come. Okay, go away. So I think I think that's brilliant, you know, to give them a little bit of a sneak peek because you've done it. But I also think that it's doable for anybody. You know, I think that if you've done a round or two of 21-day fix, you have a natural feeling for her. I'll be sure to tell him that. Karina just said, PJ, your hair is on point.
Yes, I knew someone would say it.
He said, yes, I knew somebody was going to say it. Oh, Lord. Okay. So giving them that sneak peek, I think, is a brilliant idea and can help to ease that a little bit. But like I said, if you have somebody who's really interested, private message them, just be like, look, like, it's essentially the same thing. You're still following her. She still is talking you through the entire thing, just like she does on the original. It's just amplified. And if they follow Charisse, it's pretty low impact. I mean, she modifies pretty well. And there's even some things you can modify even further. So, yeah. No yawning.
I was going to say something to what Karina said, because I have some girls at my work, some ladies that are older, and they kind of don't think that they can do the programs that we do and stuff. And I was thinking that like when they do, because I know I've seen a couple of Karina's videos and just like kind of confirming that like if I can do it, you can do it kind of a thing, and like showing examples and maybe transformations of people the same age. That might work.
Always remember,
Good too.
facts tell, stories sell. So you can give them the facts, but if you share somebody's story, like Shannon has a great story too. Karina has a great story. Shannon's sister, who backed out on her because everybody was feeding in her ear, oh, you can't do it. That's so hard. I couldn't even finish the first round, blah, blah, blah. Her sister was like, all right, I'm going to do it, because Shannon's like, look, I've done it. Just do it with me and give it a shot, because you know that you want to be in a better place. And her sister lost, what did she lose, Shannon? Like 20 pounds or 11 pounds? In the
I think she's actually like at 20 pounds lost, and she's 68.
So that's
Okay.
incredible. Like, that is incredible. And that was after she allowed people at work to bark in her ear and say, oh, I couldn't do it. You can't do it. I can't do it. You know, it's like malarkey. They didn't do it because they weren't ready. You know, anybody can do it. Cripe, look at Mary, who was in the test group for 21 Day Fix. She's like 72 and she lost, I don't even remember what it is off the top of my head, like 50 something pounds. She's a totally different person. And she's 72. 72. That's ridiculous. So anybody can do it. People who say they can't do it just aren't ready.
My big butt made it through the leg workout at Super Saturday with Autumn there. But I made it through. I didn't modify. I made it through.
Yeah. You didn't stop. Yeah. Anybody can do it. Well, Michelle's telling us she's 52 and she lost 40 pounds with it. So, you know, anybody can do it. And that's what I would do. You know, if you guys have somebody that's like, well, I'm just not sure, use the befores and afters that are in the photos that are in our group. And if you have some that aren't there yet, put them there. If you're, you know, if it's okay that our team members use them, because that's what people want to see. You might not have a huge weight loss story and they maybe need to lose a lot of weight. So they want to see somebody else that has gone that far, who has walked that journey. That makes it a little bit more relatable. And that's okay. That's what the pictures are there for. But don't be afraid to use those, because that's what's going to get people, you know, it's not just somebody, it's just not a picture off of the infomercial or, you know, that you pulled off of Beachbody's website. It's somebody that you personally know and you know their personal background. It makes a difference. Yeah. Anybody else? I love this call, you guys. I'm sorry it's taking longer than usual, but I love it. We're getting some good questions and hopefully getting some good answers out there to help everybody. And anybody think of anything else? No? Okay, well, thank you so much for jumping on the call. I apologize I did not have I didn't have our Success Club points and recognition at the beginning of the call. My head's been spinning a bit, so I will make sure that we have that for our next call. And our next call will actually be next week, the 20th, and it will be at 8:30. And we have Carolyn Marone, who is going to be. She is one of Team Tubby Tone's newest diamonds, who went 0 to diamond pretty quickly. So she's going to be sharing her tips and her little tricks that helped her, you know, keep on path and get successful in the business as quick as she did with us next week on Wednesday. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to jump on the call again. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again next week. If you have any questions or need anything else, you know how to get a hold of me or post it in the group and we'll get it taken care of, okay? All right, girls. Good night.
Night.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.